You've been told protection magic is white light and good vibes, but the old ways knew something we've forgotten. Real protection has teeth. Those white light visualizations everyone swears by? They fail because they ignore how energy actually works in the world. You can't just beam positivity at genuine threats. You can't love and light your way out of a curse or a predatory person who's locked onto your energy. That's not how any of this functions, and deep down, you already know that. Historical protection magic was visceral in ways that would make modern practitioners uncomfortable. Iron nails hammered into door frames. Animal skulls buried at thresholds, watching. Binding poppets wrapped tight in blackthorn and buried at crossroads. These weren't aesthetic choices, they were technologies of defense that worked because they understood what protection actually requires. Our ancestors didn't protect their homes and families with crystals and intentions. They protected with boundaries, with consequences, with the understanding that some things need to be kept out by force, not invited to transform through the power of positive thinking. They knew that real protection isn't passive, it's an active boundary that says this far and no further. And if you cross it, there will be a price. That knowledge didn't disappear because it stopped working. It disappeared because we got uncomfortable with the implications of magic that actually has power. Salt lines. You've seen them in every horror movie, right? But here's what they never tell you. It's not about purity. It's about architecture. Salt forms a crystalline barrier at the molecular level, and hostile energy can't cross that lattice structure. The Romans knew this. They salted the earth of conquered cities to make them uninhabitable, not just physically, but spiritually. Appalachian grannies have been laying salt lines at doorways for 300 years, and it's the same principle. You're building a fence that exists in multiple dimensions at once. Which bottles are nastier, and they work. Take a jar. Fill it with your own urine. Yeah, your actual piss, because it's marked with your essence. Add iron nails, blackthorn, broken glass, anything sharp and vicious. Seal it. Bury it at the corners of your property. Archaeologists keep finding these things in the walls of 17th century English homes. Still sealed, still working. The logic is simple. Anything coming for you hits that bottle first, gets tangled in the iron and glass and your own defensive intent, and doesn't make it to your door. And if you want something elegant, the witch's ladder. Knotted cord, feathers woven between the knots. Each knot holds a specific protection, one for the threshold, one for sleep, one for mirrors. You make it in secret, charge it in silence, and hang it where no one ever looks. Rafters. Behind furniture. Inside a hollow bedpost. It's been hanging there for 200 years in houses that don't even remember why. Here's what most people get wrong about smoke. They think it cleanses. It doesn't. What it actually does is displace. You're filling the space with something else, something intentional, something thick with purpose. Sage, rosemary, whatever you're burning, it saturates the air, and in doing so, it forces out what was there before. The stagnant energy, the residue of bad days, the thing that's been lingering in the corner of your bedroom making you feel off. It has nowhere to go but out. That's not mysticism. That's physics meeting intent. And then there's sweeping. Actual, physical sweeping with an actual broom. You start at the back of the space and work toward the front door, pushing everything out. It's rooted in folk traditions from Sicily to Southern Conjure, and the psychological power is undeniable. You're not just cleaning. You're enacting removal. Your body understands the symbolism before your brain catches up. Out means out. But here's the thing that makes banishing really sing: timing. Do it at dawn or dusk. At thresholds. Crossroads moments when the boundary between states is already thin, already shifting. The world is changing anyway, day becoming night, night becoming day. Things move easier when everything else is moving too. You're not forcing a door open. You're walking through one that's already cracked. Let's talk about binding, because this one makes people nervous. Here's the truth: binding isn't cursing. You're not attacking someone. You're putting a leash on something that's already causing harm. And every magical tradition on earth, every single one, has versions of this. There's a reason for that. The most famous version? The freezer spell. You write someone's name on paper. Seal it in water. Put it in the freezer. As it freezes solid, you're not hurting them. You're stopping their ability to hurt you. You're immobilizing the threat. It's defensive magic in its purest form, and honestly, sometimes the most loving thing you can do is stop someone from doing more damage to themselves and everyone around them. This isn't some new age invention, either. We have ancient Greek and Roman binding tablets, curse tablets, they called them, but look at what they actually say. I bind your tongue so you cannot speak lies against me. I bind your hands from doing violence. People have always needed to stop harm in its tracks. They've always understood that sometimes protection means intervention. The ethics are simple. If someone's actions are causing real harm, you have every right to stop them. You're not being aggressive. You're being clear about your boundaries. Magic doesn't require you to be a doormat. It requires you to be honest about power, yours and theirs. Protection magic isn't just about what you do. It's about who you know. The beings you've built relationships with. The allies who show up when things get sideways. Every culture on Earth has house spirits, the ones who live in your walls, under your hearth, in the threshold. The Romans called them lares. The Russians have the domovir. The Scots know them as brownies. Different names, same job, they guard what they're fed. What they are honored. What they're bound to through reciprocity. You leave them milk, bread, a bit of honey. They keep your home safe. That's the contract. That's how it's always worked. And then there are the plants. Blackthorn, rowan, hawthorn. You see them in every European protection tradition because they're not just plants. They have spirits with specific jobs, and they've been doing those jobs for thousands of years. Rowan breaks curses. Blackthorn creates impassable boundaries. Hawthorn guards portals and liminal spaces. These aren't metaphors. These are beings with agency, and when you plant them, carry them, work with them, you're entering a relationship. Even patron saints function this way. You're not begging for divine intervention from a distant figure. You're maintaining an ongoing connection with a specific power that has agreed to have your back. Protection, real protection, is relational. It's built on reciprocity, respect, and time. The spirits remember who feeds them. Here's the thing nobody tells you when you're starting out. You don't need to do everything. You need to do the one thing that matters most. And that thing? Your threshold. Every tradition on Earth, Celtic, Hoodoo, Norse, Italian folk magic, Japanese Shinto, they all protect the door first. Because that's where energy enters your space. That's the mouth of your home. A good ward there does 80% of the work. So start there. Salt line. Iron nail. Sigil above the frame. Whatever calls to you, but start at the door. And speaking of what calls to you, this is crucial. Choose the method that resonates viscerally, not intellectually. If burying jars in your yard makes your whole body say yes, that's your medicine. Don't force yourself to burn incense 3 times a day if it feels empty. Don't guilt yourself into elaborate rituals you dread. The magic that works is the magic you'll actually do. Repeatedly. With feeling. Because here's the truth about protection work. It's maintenance, not one and done. The wards that hold are the ones you feed attention to. You refresh them. You speak to them. You build relationship with them over time. They're not fire and forget spells. They're living agreements between you and the unseen. Tend them like you tend a friendship, and they'll hold. The witch who wards their home isn't afraid of the dark. They've made peace with it, learned its language, and now the shadows work for them. Follow Blackfire Atelier. I'll see you in the shadows.